Yo, we're joined by NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. But Marcellus, what was your biggest takeaway from Alabama's dominant win?
Golly, the biggest takeaway, other than in a national championship game, you win by 28, and it's really take off the shoulder pads by halftime, it felt like. My biggest takeaway was how Nick Saban and his mantras, his way of going about his business was so pervasive and on display last night. What am I talking about? You guys grew up watching the cartoon, I hope, of the tortoise versus the hare. Now, see, I took from that, because I'm a guy who's liberal in action, but pretty conservative in my thoughts. That process, that procedure of everyday application to your craft is what you need to be focused on. And obviously, Nick Saban comes to mind when you talk about someone focused on process over results. But that has led to dominance in a world that wants to fast forward every moment, that wants you to always skip to what happened, wants to know what was the end. This is a situation where Nick Saban continues to focus in on every step that he and his program takes. And it has led to this dynasty that we're witnessing right now. So my biggest takeaway was just the affirmation of those who focus in on every single step. You got a list of goals in your life, whatever that may look like, to focus in on the next step, that micro goal, to make sure you can achieve whatever you desire. That was on full display in that dominant performance by Nick Saban and Alabama.
Well said, well said. My biggest takeaway is that Alabama's had the greatest dynasty in the last 50 years in American sports. I said it, and I mean it. Think about it like this. You have two tiers of dynasties. You have your three championship dynasties, the Warriors, the Cowboys, the Yankees, the late 90s. Then you have your six championship dynasties, the Bulls, the Patriots, and Alabama winning 6 and 12. Now, you talk about the Patriots. It took them 20 years to win their six. They almost had two separate dynasties, an 8-9 year gap in between their two chips. Then you talk about the Bulls. They won their 6 and 8. Well, when I think about the Bulls, you had three constants, Pippen, Jordan, Phil Jackson. You think about the Patriots, they had two constants, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. But when you think about Alabama, it's just one constant in Nick Saban. Think about it again. The Patriots, you have Tom Brady winning all 6 of those chips. But Alabama, Greg McElroy, Coker, A.J. McCarron, Hurts, plus Tua, and then Mac Jones. It took Alabama 6 quarterbacks to win 6 chips. Nick Saban having to rotate quarterbacks every 2-3 years, having to rotate players mandated every 4 years. That, to me, is even more impressive than anything we've seen from any other sports franchise or organization in America in the last 50 years. So that's my first and my biggest takeaway. But beyond that, it's just amazing to see. Alabama won their first one against me, Texas Longhorns, 2009. That was Nick Saban's first in 2009. I've had 4 different jobs since, and he's still out here winning national championships. Like, somebody got to make that make sense for me. When you watch that game and you watch Alabama play, the fact that they didn't even look like Ohio State should have been on the same field with them. Amazing, 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 and dominant.
Yeah, like, I think both of you guys hit on the biggest points. One, that Acho was talking about Nick Saban arguably building the biggest dynasty that we've ever seen. And Marcellus talking about the way in which he was able to build it, process-oriented. It's funny because we've all played for coaches who would always stand in the huddle and say, hey, guys, one play at a time. Just focus on one play at a time. And as a young player, you're like, Coach, come on, man. Like, it's 60 minutes in the game. How am I supposed to focus on one singular play and then move on to the next one? But then when you look at Alabama and you hear not only Nick Saban talk, but you hear every player talk about the process and being the best that they can be on each and every day. And the fact that Nick Saban has been able to take a bunch of 5-star players to not only get them to buy into the process, but to get them to buy into a team-first environment where, hey, best players play, but we want our best players to be the hardest workers. And if you're not one of those guys, you can't really get it done for us. And you're going to compete each and every day. At a time where we talk about entitlement and everybody being gifted everything that they want, you have to work and earn it. And so I think it is something that our young people can learn from. Hey, you got to get after it every day. And you have to break up your goals into these small goals. And then as you start checking off the small goals, then they become bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you do those things you can create the machine that we've seen created down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because they have done something that's nothing short of remarkable down there with the Crimson Tide.
Then if we can go even more micro, Bucky, because I like what you said there, zoom in on an individual. Devonta Smith, you know, the Heisman winner at receiver, first one since Desmond Ward. I feel like I'm Desmond Howard.
Yeah,
there we go. I'm like, something came out wrong there.
Yeah.
First one since Desmond Howard. Think about Devonta Smith, his rookie year, his first year at Alabama. Tua comes in, saves the day, throws him a touchdown, game winner. But Devonta Smith should be the man, you would think. But he's stuck behind Jerry Jeudy, who wins the Belindakoff for best college wide receiver. He's stuck behind Henry Ruggs, who gets drafted in the top 15 to the Oakland Raiders. He's still stuck behind Jalen Waddle because Jalen Waddle's a speedster. So Devonta Smith is just humbly sitting there like, wait, where's my shine? Where's my shine? A lot of players would have transferred. We've seen a lot of players transferred. I'm not going to knock those that do transfer, but Devonta Smith sits there, waits his turn, steps in, wins a Heisman, sets just about every important SEC receiving record that you can set, and now leaves on his own terms after getting his own shine. Again, we do live in a microwave society. We talk about it all the time on this show, but sometimes you can have that slow cook all the way down to success and even a Heisman.
Oh, man, Acho, speaking of transfers, what a transfer of opinion you just displayed for America. Biggest dynasty in the last 50 years, you say. Amazing, amazing. And you gave him one more. Amazing, right? It's interesting. My co-host, Acho, who I've known for years but worked with for the last few months, people always ask me the good and the bad of Acho. And you know me, I protect the guilty, so I don't say all your bad, but America's watching right now. So here's your good. You're passionate, man. You are always prepared, and you're a wordsmith, a gifted wordsmith. Now, I usually don't tell America your bad traits, but let's do it. Acho likes to yell a lot. He's argumentative. He loves Carson Wentz, and no one else does. His suits are hella tight, but you know what? He looks good in them. But now I have to add one more bad attribute.
Oh, gosh.
Hypocrite. Yes, Acho is a hypocrite. I've been saying that before without evidence, everyone in America, but now here's some evidence. Listen to Acho about Nick Saban in Alabama.
The authoritarian head coach is losing his power. Uh-oh, Nick Saban, wait a second. You ain't won a national title in a few years now, and you was winning them things, and you were in them things every year. You didn't even make it to the college football playoff this last year. The authoritarian head coaches, Marcellus, from the college game, lose a grip, and in the NFL game, lose a grip. You got to be able to adjust with the times. It's a new age athlete. There's new age media. There's new age social media. You got to respond to those athletes differently.
How the hell can you even say that? And why would you even want to have the intention and effort to say that? To me, it's not even close to being over. Acho, you know what? Any last words before I sum this up right now, Acho? Because that sounded a lot different just a couple months ago than what I just heard right now. From giving him his roses now, but before you were shoveling dirt on his grave, Acho.
First off, how in the world does this turn into an Acho conversation when we giving somebody roses?
Oh, time out.
It's Nick Saban's birthday party, and you talking about what I did. Can we sing happy birthday to Nick Saban?
All I know, Acho, what was funny, you talking about turning this into something else. We were talking about Bill Belichick, and you turned it into a cremation of Nick Saban and the Alabama football program. Boy, you need to apologize to Nick Saban, to Alabama football, and to everybody living in the state of Alabama that takes pride in this football team. But I have to take it one step further. Acho, we have seen a dynasty. We have seen dominance. I'm taking you off the hook right now. And as I'm looking at the list of the top 10 teams with recognized national championships, number 10, Minnesota. Number 9, Oklahoma. Number 8, Ohio State. Number 7, Harvard. Number 6, USC. Number 5, Michigan. Number 4, Notre Dame. Number 3, Princeton. Number 2, Alabama. You know who's the most recognized national champion in college football history? The same league. The same league that started football for all y'all who want to take shots at the Ivy League. Damn right. It is Yale University. So even Alabama in this greatness, even Acho in his lies, y'all better bow down and show some respect.
Can I get this straight?
To the
Bucky,
Ivy League.
Bucky, let's get this straight. In a block
18.
where the question is, what is the biggest takeaway from Alabama's
They second to
dominant
Yale.
win?
They second to the Ivy.
Marcellus has come on this show and somehow drug my name through the mud.
You did that.
And then
Yes.
came on this show and somehow uplifted the Ivy Leagues when we are talking not at all about them. Did I get that straight, Bucky Brooks?
You got it straight. And the funny thing was, I didn't hear his alma mater.
I know.
So he's co-signing on.
Hey, I'm just representing what I'm from.
league-mate.
I'm just representing the hood, not necessarily my street
go to break.
or my block.
Go to break,
Acho
Marcellus.
apologize next time, Nick Saban.
Go to break.
He means it.